Oh, okay.
So it's really good.
And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again another day back in studio helping you win in any marketplace. That's our number one goal. We want to educate, entertain, enlighten, but most importantly, we want to engage with you so that we can help you win. Save our hotline number in your phone. You're going to need it, 813-670-7372.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
813-670-7372. That's our consumer advocate hotline number. And also our website. Make sure you bookmark our website, consumerqb.com. You can see links to all of our expert contributors there on our website, all their contact information, shows, and you can also submit an email form that'll come right back to our team to make sure that we answer any of your questions, comments, concerns on things happening here in the Tampa Bay market. So as you know, we're Tampa Bay and the Gulf Coast region's #1 consumer advocate-based program here, helping you understand more about your buying decisions, helping you avoid a lot of the commission-based advice, especially out there in the mainstream media. Online, it's the clickbait that has the interesting headline. You click on it, it's not even the story that you thought it would be. So that's what this show is about. It's about helping you. And we've got two of our best expert contributors here in studio today. Diane, Vance, local mortgage lender, Fairway Independent Mortgage. Support your local economy is what I always say.
Yes, and I'm very happy to be here. And today we're going to actually do a drawing for the home show that we attended a few weeks ago for a Home Depot gift card.
Yeah,
we're
look at
actually
that.
going to do a giveaway, and then we will mail you a gift card.
Got it right
So
here.
if you're at the home show and you stop by Brandon's booth, then you are in that bowl.
Awesome.
All
Very
right.
cool.
Yeah, I stopped by, didn't I? I think
Well,
got
maybe
William
you're in
Crowley
that
in
bowl.
here, too.
You know what, though? You may not win.
I always win.
Let's help them. We're going to help them win, too.
My
William
name's in
Crowley,
there. All right.
credit restoration, credit expert, the credit magician. It's got a lot of names, you know, the credit man.
The credit man in the hood.
Yeah.
The credit magician on the radio. But we're going to talk about how credit repair, credit restoration really works today, because there's so much confusion out there.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go ahead and get right to the point and let people know how this thing really works.
Yeah, exactly. And we're going to talk about our veterans as well today. We got our Veterans and Heroes event coming up,
And
Real
I'm a
Estate
veteran.
Success Summit. Thank you for your service. Captain Matt Bruce, we got Brandon Rhymes, myself, Diane Vance is going to be speaking. William Crowley is going to be
Hey.
speaking as well. And Patrick Highland, attorney Joe Pippin. It's going to be a great time. We're going to talk a lot about real estate, finance, mortgage, insurance benefits, veterans benefits, seniors, on how they can protect themselves when it comes to probate avoidance and those types of situations, especially for their family. Catered food from Amici's Catered Cuisine. Save the date, September 12th, 6 to 8:30 p.m. It's going to be over at American Legion Post number 5, which is 3810 West Kennedy Boulevard in South Tampa. Veterans and Heroes Real Estate Success Summit. Come on out and hang out with us. Platinum MVP team is going to be there, and it's going to be a great time. Building relationships in the community, that's what it's all about. And we've got this segment being brought to you by the Lucky Dill Restaurant, the official restaurant partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Restaurant, deli, New York City bar, Brooklyn Bakery, catering, and much more. The Lucky Dill, home of the sandwich that ate Brooklyn. The food is excellent, and their location is awesome right here on Boy Scout Boulevard in Tampa, US 19 North in Palm Harbor. Online at luckydilldeli.com. Now, all you have to do is let them know that the Real Estate Quarterback sent you, and they're going to hook you up with that
Free glass of water.
free
and
water
living
with living. That's right. That's right. They're going to hook you up in there. All right. So in studio today, we got a great lineup for you. A couple of hot listings here. I'll just let you know about this new listing that we just took on the Clearwater Beach, the north side of Clearwater Beach, 861 Mandalay Avenue. This property, it is a gorgeous home. Check out the beautiful photography compliments of Fabre Frameworks. 2-bedroom, 2-bath, beach house on the beach, 200 steps, and you are on the Sugar Sand beaches, beautiful Tampa Bay. There's actually 2 structures on site. You've got a bed, an extra bedroom in the back, which could be a 3rd bedroom. But it's a great, spot, cool hangout spot. Local celebrities in the area. Hulk Hogan lives nearby. The founder of Spanx, who's a millionaire, multi-millionaire now. So a lot of cool place to live there, right on the north side of Clearwater Beach. And check it out at PlatinumMVPTeam.com.
That's Bob.
That's Bob right there. All right, so let's jump right into it. So we got Diane, Vance, a lot of things happening out there. You know, the economy's moving right along. You know, you listen to some pundits, though, they say it's kind of an economy built on a house of cards, just with, you know, some of the things the stock companies are doing stock splits and buybacks and all that kind of thing.
If we all knew, we'd all be wealthy, wouldn't we?
Yeah, exactly.
We all knew exactly what was going to happen.
Right.
But, you know, certain segments in the economy are very, very strong. So, you know, everybody adjusts. Interest rates are very low, so people should not wait. They should actually buy now. I'm happy that William's here to actually talk about credit today because, you know, for VA and for FHA, the minimum credit score is 580, which is awesome. So they can actually get a home with 0 down for a veteran. So it's a great thing. And if they need to increase credit score, you know, then William's a perfect person to do that. I wanted to also talk about, you know, planning for the future. You want to plan. So as soon as you want to plan, get pre-qualified, get pre-approved, pull your credit. If there's any credit issues, we see all sorts of things, and there's no judgment from anybody or things happen. It just happens. It's called life. Kind of like the economy, right?
That's right.
It's up and down. So we want to make sure that everybody knows that it's a plan for the future, and you have to start somewhere. And if you start early, and let's say you're planning on your lease is up next year, you want to start to plan now so that you can actually you can get ready. You look at your credit. Then once you do, you want to make sure you go with a realtor. It's very, very important to only go with realtors. Don't buy for sale by owner, please, please, please.
Say why not?
Well, because there's a lot of negotiations, and if you ever do that, you kind of realize why there are realtors.
And they're overpriced. To begin, I had another one. Remember, I told you I had one a couple weeks ago. He was $900,000. The house was actually probably around $650 to $700,000.
Oh, wow.
I had another one, almost exactly the same price, but a different area in Odessa, a very similar property, $900,000 acreage, but it's a home that has a lot of updates, and they want to compare it to the nicer, newer builds, but you can't.
You can't.
When you look at so again, you know, I was going over it with my appraiser friend and my transaction manager. $900,000 really should be listed about $650.
Wow.
And that was a FISBO?
For sale by owner.
Yeah, a lot of us, we find that.
Big time.
Yeah, you can actually make a big mistake.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of negotiations. So what happens is they pay $900,000 for this house, and reality is going to hit when I pull an appraisal, and the appraisal comes in at $650. Who's going to negotiate that for you? And you've already fallen in love with this house, and you want it, and then you're told, oh, you got to bring $250,000, $300,000 additional to closing.
Yeah. Because
we use the appraised value or the purchase price, whichever one is less.
Right.
So it just depends on, you know, but that's why it's very important. I try to always just suggest that people make sure you get with a professional, because they're going to know, and they're going to direct you, negotiate, help you. They are there to help you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it's very important. But then you plan and you go to the next step, which is, of course, pre-qualifying, getting ready. And as soon as you have a contract, you want to start looking for homeowners insurance. You don't want to wait 3 or 4 weeks. You want to start looking right away.
Yep.
And then when you actually know your closing date, because we know your closing date, you know, once you're pre-approved and you've actually the first approved, once you have your, you know, go ahead and bind your coverage. Go ahead and bind it. If there's any storms out there or anything like that, it needs to be in place, because they stop writing insurance, and we're right towards the end of the month right now. And if you haven't bound your insurance for, let's say, for next week, you know, if there's any storms out there, they may actually not write it. So you may have to wait.
Now, when you say bind it, what exactly does that mean?
That means that I've committed to an agent, and I've actually signed the paperwork that I'm actually going to go with that agent.
Yeah.
So he's given me a quote, or she's given us a quote, and I've decided to go with that person. I've actually signed the paperwork to make it with an effective date. Okay. And we can always make the effective date of the insurance prior to. It's easy for them if something comes up that you know, you're not sure, or let's say you want, you know, you think you might want to close earlier, you can do that, and then we can always just extend it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yep. Get it locked in.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a big thing, too, when you look at, by the way, if you just joined us, Brandon Rhymes here. We're talking with Diane Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage. William Crowley's in the house as well. We're going to bring up credit here in a moment. But when you look at the file flow, you get the paperwork in, you get the documents in, you look at it. Processor might prep that file. Then it's going to go to that underwriter. Talk about that process a little bit.
Yeah, so basically, you don't want any surprises.
Right.
So the way we work in my office is we don't give pre-approvals until we actually pre-underwrite. There's an automated underwriting system, and I gather the documents. I look at income, credit, assets. We make sure you can actually purchase this home you're actually going to purchase, because there's a seller. Depending on that, there's realtors that are taking their time. Everybody's going to take their time with the customer. So we want to make sure, and we want to make sure it's a happy experience.
Yeah.
So what happens is, once we actually, in my office, what we do is within 3 days, once the loan is given to the processor, within 3 days, they submit that loan to underwriting. And then within 48 hours, we have a conditional approval. So we already ran it through an automated system that says, hey, yes, as long as you figured your income correctly,
right,
and nothing comes up on any place else, it shows anywhere else, you're good to go. And as long as they don't buy a car or anything like that in the process, which you should never do, wait till after you close.
Yeah, right.
It kind of goes hand in hand. We just had that conversation with somebody else today. But you want to make sure that you're all set, and then all we do is wait for the appraisal. You order your insurance, we wait for the appraisal, and then you have what is called, once your insurance is actually in place, which is called the bind, you're binding the insurance with the insurance agent and say, yes, I'm going with you, I've signed the paperwork.
Very nice.
And then they give us that, and we do what is called a clear to close. And then actually, when the loan is initially approved with an underwriter, we order what is called initial closing disclosure. Even if we don't have the final insurance, we just have a quote. We usually do that about 10 days prior to closing, because there's a certain rule out there that you have to have your initial closing disclosure 3 days prior. So we do it way ahead of time. And then the title company starts working on the figures, and we get everything finalized, clear to close, and we're ready to go.
Boom. All that happens. Could be as little as 3 weeks if you're in a rush. Probably more like about 4 or 5, depending.
No, we always do within 30 days.
30
Usually
days.
about 21 days is our average.
Nice.
And we've, if people need it in a rush, we do it in 10 days.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah. So it, we've had to save some deals.
Save some
deals.
online
companies that, don't,
man.
kind of give you a.
I hate those online guys. Oh man,
they're our best resource.
Yeah, get a lot of referrals
saves.
Saves.
Yeah. So anyway, so that is the process. We try to make it as painless as possible, and we try to get it, because it's a lot for a person. I mean, just buying a house in general, it's a lot. That's why you need a professional to walk you through.
That's right. And there's so many places that are providing false, information or misleading information. We're going to pay all your closing costs, and what they don't tell you is you're paying that in the rate.
Correct.
But, and you got the credit side. Let's talk when we come back. We're going to talk with William Crowley as well. I want to bring Diane and William into a conversation about credit and the income approval process. I wanted to ask you more questions about that.
Okay.
And we also have our feel good story of the day. Parents who emphasize kindness over grades have kids with less anxiety, depression, and better grades. Find out about that interesting story right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Also, we're going to do our drawing for the Home Depot prize giveaway here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We'll be right back after this short break. Don't go anywhere.
I never thought of it.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. For more information, go to consumerqb.com.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
This is the Cannabis Podcast, powered by TrueLeaf on Radio Influence. It's an inside look and the scientific facts in and around the world of medical cannabis. Now, here is your host, Ian Beckles.
He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
Thanks for sticking with us right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. And we appreciate all of our listeners, our viewers out there, our TV show on Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Roku. You can find us everywhere. And we're actually moving to 860 The Answer coming up on the 26th of the month. We're going to be over at 860 The Answer, and it's an honor to be asked to join that all-star lineup. You got national TV show host all day, very popular host through the Salem Communications Network on that station, a very large listening audience. So we're looking forward to that. And so we want you to make sure you save that information. And we're going to be on at 4 o'clock drive time. So just 1 hour earlier on 860 The Answer coming up on the 26th of the month, coming up right around the corner. And this segment is brought to you by the Bilmar Beach Resort, the official hotel partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. The gorgeous, beautiful Bilmar Beach Resort on Treasure Island. It's completely renovated, beautiful property, 2 pools on site, huge beach, and just a great place to hang out on the weekends. Give Clyde Smith, the general manager, a call. He is a great guy, friend of mine, and he's going to take care of you over at the Bilmar Beach Resort. Let him know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. Take him up on special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. And we got a hot listing for this segment here. I wanted to tell you about a new property that we just listed here in the area. It's a great property that's $300,000. This one is actually, let's do 2053 Heartland Circle in Valrico. This one actually is just a new listing that we took. We got some aerial drone photography there. 4 bedrooms, 3 bath, beautiful pool home, or a property with no pool. Don't know where that came from. We got out in Valrico here, but a nice property, great community, and close proximity to a lot of great schools, shoppings, and parks. That's a great opportunity for you there, as well as Boy Scout Road and Burrell Road. This is an awesome piece of land. Looking for maybe a church might be a great opportunity for this. We're thinking 2 estate-style homes on a 5-acre parcel for this property. It's 18117 Boy Scout Road in Odessa. It's $2.498 million. So you've got 10 acres of land here. Might be nice for a church or even as kids, like a daycare type situation, kids school. But anyways, 2 prime waterfront right on the lake there, Lake Jackson. Beautiful property. Great opportunities at PlatinumMVPTeam.com. Somewhere sunny and 75. All right, we're back here in studio. Diane, Vance in the house, Fairway Independent Mortgage. William Crowley, the credit man, in the studio as well. So that's what I wanted to bring in conversation here, just kind of talk about the mortgage process and then also how it relates to credit. Credit, of course, it's much more than just mortgages. Credit's applying to a lot of different areas today, William.
Yeah, it does. And most of the time, I always like to talk about demystifying the process, because so many people, everybody's the credit repair expert. Everybody takes something off the credit report, and now they're a credit repair expert. So the real deal with credit repair is we're using the Fair Credit Reporting Act, a consumer law that was created by Congress in 1970, okay? And as it compares to like people that file bankruptcies, consumer credit counseling, debt consolidation, the hidden secret is the Fair Credit Reporting Act, which everybody doesn't even, I would like to say everybody doesn't familiarize themselves with that. They just jump right to what the hoopla is saying, what the media is saying about, file a bankruptcy, consumer credit counseling, debt consolidation. And I say, no, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, it was created by Congress. This is not some law that just came out of thin air. Congress reinforced this in 1970, shortly after the first credit reporting agency was formed, which was TRW. Congress said, well, these people have unlimited power over a person's private life, so let's limit them. But these consumer laws are there, but nobody's really enforcing them. The consumer must enforce these laws. They're waiting for us to enforce them. Now, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, what does it tell you? It tells you this. Now, just not to get technical, but let's get right to the point of layman's terms. It's about due process. Okay, it's like a defense attorney in a court of law. We know our clients are guilty. Okay, we know they are. We know they committed all of these, the non-payment of debts or whatever that's on their credit report. But we also know that there's laws that the credit reporting agencies must follow. They're not following these laws according to the Fair Credit Reporting Act. So people like myself, credit restoration as opposed to credit repair, we go in, use these laws to have information that does in fact belong to the consumer to be removed. I tell people, if it does belong to you, then come and see a credit repair person or a credit restoration person. Right. If it doesn't belong to you, then you're a victim of identity theft. Just file a police report and you can have that stuff easily removed. But if it does belong to you, which is kind of confusing to people, they say, well, if it belongs to me, how can you get it off? Because we're going after the credit reporting agencies for violation of due process. Okay. They're the ones that put it on there. They're the ones that are going to take it off if you come at them using the Fair Credit Reporting Act, which most people aren't familiar with. Right. Yeah. So, I mean, I can go on and on and on, but the bankruptcy, consumer credit counseling, debt consolidation, do they really work as opposed to credit repair? Credit repair can have something taken off within 30 days of a dispute being applied. Whereas a bankruptcy, once you file the bankruptcy as discharge, it's going to stay on anywhere from 10 to 15 years. Okay, at Chapter 13, you got to do the repayment first, and then it's 7 years for it to come off. So it's about 12 years there. So why wait that long? Or consumer credit counseling and debt consolidation? I'm not saying that these programs aren't effective, but if you want to legally clean up your credit in the shortest amount of time possible, use the Fair Credit Reporting Act and have this information taken off the credit report instead of sitting there going back and forth saying what's not, this is not mine or the balance is not right and everything like that. The credit reporting agencies are violating the law. They're supposed to contact the consumer prior to putting any information on the consumer's report. They're not doing that. Okay, so the bankruptcy, the tax lien, the late payment, the judgment, the collection, the inquiry, whatever you have that's negatively impacting your credit, just use the Fair Credit Reporting Act and have the information removed based on a technicality. Okay.
So now they remove that. We're talking with William Crowley here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. Diane, Vance also in studio. So they remove that. Once you make those, you're saying, hey, you didn't do due process. We're going to send you these rebuttals, and then at that point they're going to have to research it. And a lot of times they don't have the time or efforts or resources to research it. So then your score increases.
Well, yeah, but see, it's not about them researching it. They know they broke the law.
Okay.
It's just that the consumers don't know how to use the Fair Credit Reporting Act to go after the credit reporting agency, okay? So the credit reporting agency, when they receive the information, they give you this double talk. Oh, well, we verified this information is yours. You don't have to verify it's mine. I know it's mine. I'm going after you, Mr. Credit Reporting Agency, because you violated the Fair Credit Reporting Act when you put this information on my credit report. The problem is that the credit reporting agencies get the opportunity to investigate themselves. Okay, so that's the problem. So if we had an independent agency, credit repair would go work just like that. Within 30 days, everybody would be cleaned up because we have an independent agency that knows the credit reporting agency violated the law. But we're sending the disputes to the credit reporting agencies themselves.
Right.
The fox in the hen house or whatever you call it. How's that go?
I got you.
But the point is, we can't ask the credit reporting agency to investigate themselves. Ask me to investigate myself when I commit a crime.
Right.
I'm going to be innocent too.
Right.
But if you keep going at them, like I get a lot of people to come to me and say, hey, it's taking longer than I thought. Yeah, because with the credit reporting agency investigating themselves. But just follow what we tell you to do. You keep hitting them with these laws. Eventually, they're going to bend and say, okay, we're going to go ahead and remove this.
Yeah.
Usually, it's about 70 to 80% of the negative information is removed off the credit report. I can't tell people 100%.
Yeah.
But it should be. I should be able to tell them that. But if we had an independent agency to investigate,
you got to have that impartiality. A lot of times you see that in business and
it's a numbers
finance,
game.
and exactly. But they beat up on the real estate and mortgage industry so bad. But yet these wealth advisors, these so-called wealth advisors, these financial advisors that are not fiduciaries, they're taking advantage of people every day, and it's not to a tune of 1 or 2%. It's compounded, and it's thousands and thousands. But that's an area that really needs to be revamped instead of beating up on the mortgage and real estate people. That's a big one. Got about a minute left.
Okay, minute left. So a lot of the mortgage companies use this thing called the simulator, and Diane could probably expound on it. But let me just say an experience I had this week with one of the mortgage companies that I work with is that the simulator, they told the client, well, go ahead and pay this collection, and your credit score will go up 16 points.
Oh, man.
And it went down, right?
Yeah. Well, no, but they said the simulator said it would go up 16 points. I said, okay. So when I was talking to the client, I said, well, okay, I don't want to do it that way. I don't want you to pay a collection. I'd rather that you issue a validation of debt to the collector and then dispute it with the Fair Credit Reporting Act to have it removed. The simulator said if I did it that way, it would give them 30 points. So I said, the simulator is correct in that scenario, but they're only telling people to pay collections. Don't pay them. Use the Fair Credit Reporting Act and remove this information from the credit.
Because you're bringing your old account current.
You're bringing it current.
That's a big one. All right, parents who emphasize kindness over grades have kids with less anxiety, depression, and better grades. Find out right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
I love the trigger leads, right?
Thanks for listening to My Daddy's Show. For more information, go to consumerqb.com.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
This is the Cannabis Podcast, powered by True Leaf on Radio Influence. It's an inside look and the scientific facts in and around the world of medical cannabis. Now, here is your host, Ian Beckles.
He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here in studio, helping you win in any marketplace. Tampa Bay and the Gulf Coast region's #1 consumer advocate. I'm a top listing agent here in the area as well. We help our sellers maximize the profits on the sale of their real estate properties, utilizing our innovation in the real estate space. We're going to feature properties on Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Sony TV, and about 90 other outlets, including our daily radio and TV shows here in Tampa Bay. Giving a shout out to Brothers Easy Moving, the official moving partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Brothers Easy Moving. And I can tell you from firsthand experience that they are a first-class organization. They do a great job. I personally know Gary, the owner, and they do a great job, I can tell you. Also online, 4.6 rating on Google, the highest in the Bay Area. A rating from the Better Business Bureau and Angie's List. Check them out online, Brothers Easy Moving. Let them know the real estate quarterback sent you and take them up on special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. And reminder, we got our Veterans and Heroes Real Estate Success Summit coming up on Thursday, September 12th, 6 to 8:30 p.m. American Legion, post number 5 on Kennedy Boulevard in South Tampa. It's kind of at that Kennedy and Del Mabry intersection. Very popular area in South Tampa. Veterans and Heroes Real Estate Success Summit. Diane, Vance is going to be speaking. William, Crowley, both of our expert contributors here in studio today, as well as myself. We're going to have attorney Joe Pippin there as well, and Captain Matt Bruce, nationally syndicated radio show host, very popular show host with the veterans as well, and the fire departments, the police. Come on out and support us. Support your veterans and share this information with them as well. We really appreciate that. All right. Hot property listing in Odessa, Florida, 1645 Parker Boulevard in Odessa. Waiting on professional pictures still, but this is a property that we just listed. 4 bedrooms, 3 bath, open floor plan, and you got a screened-in pool, beautiful lot. Now, this community has access to a lake as well, so if you're a boater and you like to get out there on the lake, check it out online. Check out PlatinumMVPTeam.com. PlatinumMVPTeam.com. All right, so yeah, real heavy on credit improvement today, talking about that today. We got Diane Vance in studio, Fairway Independent Mortgage. She's actually a regional branch manager. She has 36 or so employees, just shy of 40 underneath her, working on her team. We got William Crowley as well, the credit magician, the credit man, longtime friend of the program, over 5 years on air with us now, helping a lot of people. We're going to give away his credit package here coming up as well, but I want to bring that back up. But Diane, what do you say we give away
Let's do it.
our Home Depot? Yeah, we can't remember if it's a
$50 gift card. I'm pretty sure.
Okay,
yeah.
So here we go. So this is for everybody.
If it's 100, you're gonna be surprised.
This is for everybody. Yeah.
You want one of us to pull that out, or you gonna pull it?
No, you can do it.
All right. So this is for everybody that came to our event at the Florida Home Show, the Tampa Home Show.
That's right.
All right. I got a name here.
And I will mail it.
Let's see here. So who do we have?
Crowley.
Marlon Robinson in Zephyr Hills is the winner. So I'm going to pass that over to Diane.
Okay.
Yes. So thanks for coming.
Congratulations, Marlon.
Yeah. Congrats. So we're going to mail that out to them. They're going to contact them and get that mailed out to them. And yeah, lots of fun. You know, we always try to have fun at our events, and it's just a great time to, you know, be in the community. You know, we're one of these shows that we want to engage. You know, that's one of our biggest things we talk about. We like to engage. We want to help people. And we've had an uptick in calls lately with people calling into the show. You know, they want to know more about their credit. I think that's probably one of our most popular areas. You know, how can I improve my credit? A lot of renters reaching out to us, Diane.
Good.
You know, people wanting to get into the home ownership game. They say, I hear everybody talk about how low the rates are, and it's easy to get into home ownership.
It really is, and it's a great time because interest rates are so low, and when they tick up just a little bit, it takes away your buying power. So, you know, I think we talked last week about $1,400 in rent, and then you're paying $85,000 over a 5-year period.
That's
so,
right.
So you need to, you know, have your own wealth, build your own wealth, and grow it that way. But credit is the first thing that's very important. But it's no matter what's happened, you have people like William that can help you, and as long as you get a professional, you'll be taken care of.
Yeah, that's right. And so let's stick on this path here of credit, and also I want to kind of sprinkle in the renter idea. I think a lot of renters think, oh, my credit's too bad. I don't know if I can. I'm just going to pay rent again. Yeah. But then the next thing you know, you look down, 5 years have gone by, and you paid $85,000, $100,000 into a landlord just to live where you live.
Plus, it goes up every year.
It's going to go up.
It's going to go up. It's going to continuously go up. So why not find out? Maybe it might be 2 years or whatever it is, but find out what the plan is. You have to start somewhere and do the plan. So if you're renting, just make a phone call. It's that simple.
Yeah. And I look at it like today, we've got 3D Solar, one of our other show partners at our home, adding solar to our roof. So it's a situation where, if I was a tenant, I couldn't do that.
Correct.
Plus the theory of putting solar on your roof is that one day I'm going to eliminate my power bill, 6 to 8 years, depending on how aggressively we pay that debt off. Now we're not going to have a monthly electric bill, which is currently $400 or $500 a month.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you can't do that as a renter. You're absolutely right. You can't make any of your own home improvements. Yeah. You're more stable. Your children are more stable in the school system if you own.
Yes.
You're more stable at your job. I mean, the differences and the all of everything is so much better for a homeowner as far as long-term growth.
Absolutely. And I think it has a mental effect too, not only for the owner and themselves, just the pride, the self-concept, the self-pride of, hey, I'm paying into a home. Or, hey, maybe I'm buying my first home and then I'm going to turn it into a rental. I'm going to buy another home. I've seen a lot of people start with one, duplex, triplex, quad. Now they're starting to build it. That's right.
Yeah, that's the name of the game, is wealth building. You should always have not only a savings, but also another plan, which could be real estate.
So we kind of finished the segment a little bit quick last time. We were running out of time. William tends to go long a little bit, So we were rushing that point, but that's a good point. Don't pay off an old collection, right?
Right.
You don't want to pay off an old collection.
You don't want to,
because you're bringing that current.
Yeah. Well, what happens? It just infuriates. It drives me crazy. But they can resell your collection accounts several times, and that's what they tend to do. And don't just reach out to a professional. We can advise you where to go. Go see William. We can advise you to do that because it can be taken care of for you. And instead of always staying in legally, the Fair Credit Reporting Act was a wonderful thing. But they still need some more, you're right, somebody overseeing them. And there's a lot of errors that are on credit reports, and they stay on there. And people just get so fearful, and they think somebody's going to judge them. There is no judgment. I mean, we all know it's a flawed system sometimes. So,
and
it really is.
Yeah. And let me say something on this collection, because most people think collections just come out of thin air. What happens is you can go to Visa, MasterCard, the hospital, Discover, American Express, whatever. These are what you call original creditors. And they all have insurance on these accounts, okay? So if you default, they're going to get paid one way or the other, okay? Just look at it like that, okay? Now, once they charge the debt off after non-payment on the consumer's behalf, usually about 90 to 180 days of inactivity, financial inactivity, the original creditor is going to charge the debt off, okay? They're going to be protected right there, okay? So they have no more interest in the debt. Then what they call double dip. Then they sell it to collectors, okay? Which is borderline illegal, okay? But the way the way they get out of it is that when the collector sends you a letter, they tell you, hey, it's come to our attention that you owe this debt. We're here to collect on it. In the second paragraph, real small print, it says, if you wish to dispute the validity of this debt, you may do so within 30 days. Most consumers are lost there because they say, well, I can't dispute this. This is mine.
Yeah.
You just said you're representing the original creditor. They're not representing the original creditor. They just bought the debt for pennies on the dollar, and then they're going to collect on. Sometimes the collector gets more out of you than the original creditor. Now, if you don't owe the debt, then I tell people what most credit repair companies don't do is they don't show people how to do a validation of debt. We intervene and say, listen, okay, we're going to work to have it removed off the credit report using the Fair Credit Reporting Act, but then we're going to use a combination of the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act and the Uniform Commercial Code, negotiable instruments section in particular, and say, let's dispute the validity of this collection. Okay. Mr. Collector, do you have the original note? They don't have the original note. Right. It was destroyed at the time of charge-off when the original creditor charged it off.
Right.
So the collector just buys it, has a spreadsheet, and they're calling you to collect on the debt. Don't pay the debt, but don't ignore the debt. Issue a validation of debt to the collector alongside disputing it with the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Now you're killing two birds with one stone. You're having the item removed off the credit report, and then you're challenging the collector to say, listen, if I owe this debt, show me the original note, and I'll be more than happy to pay it. If you don't have the original note, cease and desist.
Right.
They don't have the original note. But the consumers or a lot of the companies out there are not savvy enough to say, here's the word track that you have to use with the collectors. Use a validation of debt, folks.
Yeah.
Stop paying those collections.
Yeah.
Because like Diane said earlier, it's killing you. I mean, most time when you pay a collection, your point's going to take a dive.
Right.
That's why I was really surprised that simulator told me that your score would go up 16 points if you paid a collection. I said, that's highly unlikely.
That's ridiculous.
You know, that might be a flawed system because most time the score is going to go down because you're updating an old account,
That's right.
which changes the date of last activity.
Yep.
It's a higher point deduction.
And you're almost admitting guilt. You're like, yeah, I'll pay you now, but I didn't pay you all these years.
Right.
But now I want to buy a house.
Yeah, now I want to buy a house.
So I'm going to pay this off.
But what I tell people, do not pay their collections, especially if it's already charged off. You're right. It's done.
Right.
I mean, they've already written it off as a tax deduction.
Right.
So,
but don't pay it.
No,
but don't ignore it either. Don't ignore it.
Right.
Yeah.
Issue a validation of debt.
All right, so we're going to offer a credit package when we come back. William Crowley is going to offer out his credit package. Diane, I wanted to talk to you as well about some of the industry, some of the big banks in the industry, and some of the things that that we see there too. The guys that took the bailout money, they took our hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars, and took bailout money, taxpayer dollars, and also our feel good story of the day: parents who emphasize kindness over grades have kids with less anxiety, depression, and better grades. Find out more about that story, and our expert contributor is going to be talking about our lightning round here coming up. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
This is Warwick Dunn, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Ian Beckles here with my man
that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
And we're back. Brandon Brimes here, your host of the show, having a great conversation here today. Real heavy on credit today. Talk about credit improvement. It's such an area that people, have misconceptions about. So it's a great content show here. Real heavy on credit. And we got Diane, Vance in the house, Fairway Independent Mortgage, William Crowley, the credit magician in studio. This segment is brought to you by WholeBodyFuel.com, the official meal delivery service of the Consumer Quarterback Show. WholeBodyFuel.com. Convenient, healthy meals delivered directly to your home or office. And what else do you have in this world if you don't have your health? You got to be eating healthy these days. WholeBodyFuel.com. Check him out. Chef Brian Adamo and his team, Kevin and the fellows, they do a great job over there. The meals are awesome. Whole food. They got the world famous protein donuts as well. Excellent food. Check them out online. WholeBodyFuel.com. Let them know the real estate quarterback sent you, of course. Every day we're going to tell you something positive here in our feel good story of the day.
Tell me something good.
All right, so a new study has revealed that students whose parents emphasize kindness over achievements expectations are not only happier, but also get better grades. Researchers asked 506 sixth graders to rank what they believe was the most valued by their parents. The list included 3 achievement-oriented goals and 3 oriented towards behavior. They found that students whose parents valued grades over kindness to others did not get better grades, but did have elevated stress levels, especially if the parent was critical. The study also found that students whose parents emphasized kindness just as much or even more than academic achievement and had lower levels of anxiety and depression and less behavioral problems, higher grades, and higher self-esteem. The researchers also suggested that the parents should focus on being supportive when a child is struggling academically. Ask their child how they can help rather than being critical. Pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
That's nice. Okay.
Yeah. Focus on kindness. Do a random act of kindness.
Yeah. So
right?
my Pure Bar class, I took a picture of this and actually posted on Facebook. In a world when you can be anything, be kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you did that before, Brandon said?
Yeah, I did
go
it
wrong
this
with
weekend.
That. Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, that's
can't go
all right.
wrong with kindness. Kindness is kind of missing from our society. A lot of, especially online, people just want to be extra tough when they're behind a keyboard. Hide
You can
behind.
say anything on a keyboard, but if you have to look at somebody, you're going to say something different.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
the
Marine
big
Corps.
change.
I'm from the Marine Corps, so
Former Marine.
it's all about discipline.
Yeah, that's right, man.
I got to be more kind. Dang it.
Right along with kindness is if you can make him laugh, And
Yeah.
William, you do a great job with that.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the first things you say when you do your you do your talks. Anybody who in the room has bad credit?
Bad credit. Who got bad credit?
That's what. Nobody raised their hand. Okay, you lie about other stuff too.
Yeah. You'll be calling me unknown later on my phone on the block number. Hey, I'm one of those deadbeats.
So when you think about credit improvement, there's a lot of things happening there. Mortgage. I wanted to talk about a little bit about the banks. Because I think so many people just go into the banks that they bought. First of all, as Americans, we should be all still upset about what happened. We had this meltdown, we had this recession. That was partly because of the way that we deregulated regulations. And then Congress votes to tax the taxpayers to bail out these banks, because if not, the whole world would collapse and everything would have been this big Armageddon or something, right? All right, so we follow that line. But now they went out and they took that money, they bought the best possible locations on every main corner street, and so don't support the big banks. That's my whole thing.
Yeah.
Don't support them.
Well, I used to work for one of those big banks.
Yeah. Which one?
I won't say.
Yeah. He's trying to get you in trouble, see?
I don't think I'm allowed to say online. But no, so I'm old school. I have been in the business for many, many years, and I started in the business when you had to verify everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so income, everything was verified, and I can remember saying when they came out with this no income verification, I'm like, oh, we are all in trouble. You just wait. This is going to cause a problem. And sure enough, it caused a problem later on. Yeah.
That's right.
And then they went the other way, too big, too much. So the difference in a company like ours is we go the same place that the big banks go to sell their paper.
Mm-hmm.
The banks are not licensed.
Mm-hmm.
They are registered. They're loan officers. We are licensed. We have to go through continuing education every year, fair credit training every year.
Yeah.
Make sure that we're doing it right. right. And we don't have what is called extra guidelines, which are called overlays. So we actually follow the guidelines of the secondary market, which is Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and Ginnie Mae, all those folks that actually buy the paper.
Right.
That's where you get your money. Everybody gets it there. Every bank or mortgage company gets their money there. Well, most of them do.
Yeah.
And so we all have the same hamburger. It's just that who's added extra stuff on the hamburger to make it more difficult. So, and the difference is we have other non-prime, but it's not to the point that it was before.
Yeah.
You still have to prove income. Self-employed buyers sometimes write off more than they should, but they can show in the bank they've done it for 12 months and they actually have income and they pay their bills and they actually don't need to visit William.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
That's right.
And those people we can help. So,
awesome.
we have all sorts of programs to help anybody.
Yeah, that's great. And let's go ahead and, William, prep up. Give me the prep for the credit package. Let's offer out 3 of those credit packages real quick. What are they going to get with that credit package?
It's all about making the consumer more aware of their rights. So we're going to have the information on the Fair Credit Reporting Act in there, the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, even the Uniform Commercial Code and Negotiable Instruments section. It's all about teaching you the laws that you need to know so you can be more proactive. Instead of trying to transform a mortgage broker or a mortgage person into a credit repair person,
right?
Go ahead and get your credit straightened out before you go see them, preferably coming to me or someone of this caliber,
right?
And let us do it beforehand. But nevertheless, if you do go to the mortgage people, they'll send you to me anyway.
Yeah.
So, but there's a lot of great information in there. Even the promotional block. Everybody should have a promotional block on their credit report as well. It's a free service that the credit reporting agencies don't want you to know about.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's offer it out there for the first 3 listeners that text the word credit to our consumer advocate hotline, 813-670-7372. Text the word credit to 813-670-7372. The first 3 listeners, we're going to hook you up with a credit package from William Crowley, a.k.a. the Credit Magician. Teach you how to get, stop the junk mail from coming to your mailbox. Teach you how to opt out of pre-screening and really reduce your chances of identity theft, and also talk to you through a consultative opportunity to sit down and go over all that information and how you can improve your credit. So free credit package, 813-670-7372. All right, let's jump into our lightning round.
The lightning round!
I am so good at lightning rounds!
I majored in lightning round.
All right, here we go. Top tips, nuggets of advice, parting words of wisdom. Diane, Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage.
Just plan early and get your credit done early, and and if you do need to see William, I will definitely send you that way. And my website is dianevance.com. It has a lot of good information on there, and as a matter of fact, it has some information in there about credit.
Excellent. DianeVance.com. Check it out. And also, reach out for all those pre-approvals. Don't wait till the last minute. That's a big problem that we see sometimes. William Crowley.
Yeah. Just be proactive. Go to ftc.gov. That's the Federal Trade Commission website. And look at the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Everybody that's especially trying to buy a home and you have dings on your credit, you don't necessarily have to come to me. Of course, I'd love for you to. But study the Fair Credit Reporting Act to see what you can do to take off some of this information legally off your credit report. We know it belongs to you, but the credit reporting agencies have broken the law by putting it on there.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so continuing our talk about negotiation and branding, I speak at the different realtor boards, but negotiation. One thing we want to talk about, and again, shout out to Chris Voss, Never Split the Difference is his book. Tactical empathy. It's something when you're in a negotiation or even just a conversation. This is just conversational advice. Is you want to express what he's labeled as tactical empathy. Okay, so you want to imagine yourself in your counterpart's position. You want to recognize their perspective. Try to understand why they're saying what they're saying, why they're coming from that area. And then you want to vocalize and demonstrate that you do recognize that. Again, you can use labels, okay? Labels is where you're labeling the feelings or the situation. You want to understand what the feelings are coming from that counterpart, and you want to tell them that you hear those feelings. And not only that, you want to fuel those feelings. Focus your attention on identifying emotional obstacles, okay, that are standing in the way of an agreement. So find out what those obstacles are. what the objections are, and then you're going to be able to address those very eloquently. And you want to analyze your counterpart's words, tones, and body language. Remember the 738-55% rule. And then also spot changes in there and look for those incongruencies. That's how you're able to spot a liar as well. You notice the pitch change in the voice. You notice them fidgeting their feet. There's a lot of ways that you can spot a liar also by being an expert in negotiation. So let's go back to Diane here. Diane, you got a quick tip for us, about 30 seconds. Any kind of parting words of advice?
I love the be kind. I love that story. Yeah. My children are very kind, so I must have did it right.
Yes, that's great.
Yeah. That's what I love. But yes, just let us help you plan. Let the professionals help you, and that's the best advice I can give anybody.
Yeah. Long-term planning, that's the deal. It's all about long-term planning, having a strategy, following through with that strategy as well. That's the key. Follow us online at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram and Twitter. A lot of great content out there on YouTube. Someone told me the other day we have almost 1,000 videos on YouTube now. So we've been doing the show for a long time, and there's a lot of great content. So search on YouTube, find the show, find the expert contributor or the area of advice that you're thinking about, and you'll get a great concept of what we're doing here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And we want you to please go out there and consider committing your random act of kindness. Do something kind for one another. Pack up some food or clothing, carry it with you, and hand it to that person that you see in need. Donate some blood. Lots of ways that you can get involved and be a force for good in the community. We'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show. Weekday afternoons at 5 on AM 1380. The Biz.
Are you a real estate agent looking to take your business to the next level and supercharge your marketing? Hi, I'm Brandon Rhymes, owner of Platinum MVP Realty and host of the Real Estate Quarterback Show, syndicated radio and TV show talk program on iHeartRadio, 1025 The Bone, daily 5 o'clock drive time on 1380 The Biz, and our TV show is on WeBeam TV. We're looking for real estate agents that want to join our team and supercharge their marketing utilizing some of our innovative strategies. We utilize the Real Geeks platform, Facebook marketing, internet marketing, and a lot of the traditional methods as well. Postcard mailers mailed for you, postage, signage, business cards, all paid for by the company. Aggressive real estate splits and ways to help you win in any marketplace. We need you to go out, take applications, and work our plethora of leads that we're generating on a daily basis. Reach out by clicking the form below, and we'd love to have a confidential interview with you.